Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our IPC Web Studio. We're transmitting live from Makati, Philippines, and thanks for attending this session. I'm Yutuc, the Senior Product Manager at IPC, and I have with me Mr. Antoine Nookadu, the CEO and founder of BlueCloud, which I actually see as like a big brother to me. Thank you for coming, Antoine.
Thanks very much, Ace. Thank you.
As you know, IPC has built a reputation as a leader in delivering cloud services in the Philippines. We are a partner of Google and a gold partner of Salesforce and have excellent track record in delivering state-of-the-art world-class data center services. We are also the official partner of IPC Voices, thank you, powered by BlueCloud. IPC has interest in servicing the BPO and call center sector, and since we carry a range of cloud services like infrastructure as a service and software as a service, we deliver solid infrastructure solutions, call center solutions, but also ensure that our clients have affordable and top-notch internet connectivity to achieve amazing results and undeniable savings. IPC Voices, powered by BlueCloud, carries all the core functionalities of a generic call center, but makes it possible for SMEs to afford the latest technology in an incredible price, and they get the full suite of functionalities needed to run a professional contact center. What makes IPC Voices unique is its simplicity and how it streamlines the processes so intelligently. We are proud to deliver such a solution, which is scalable, no capex required, and very powerful when it comes to delivering results. Antoine, can you please tell us about you? And I think you were previously an owner of a contact center back in Sydney, Australia, right?
Correct, Ace. So I actually come from a sales and marketing background. So I've had a chance to work with quite large organizations and managing sales and marketing and large teams of inside sales as well. And call centers, basically. In 2000, we decided to start a boutique call center in Sydney.
Oh.
And we partnered with a lot of large call centers such as Telus, ICT, Custom Call, and the likes. And basically, we were getting a lot of overflow work from them. So we were generating a lot of business through these channels. Basically, we didn't need to do a lot of marketing to generate business. But that put a great pressure on us because it actually forced us to really look at our technology and the way we do things and really try and look at solutions that would enhance what we do in the marketplace.
You're a founder of BlueCloud, right? Can you tell us more about the business and
I'm the original founder of BlueCloud, so I came up with the concept and the idea of BlueCloud, its simplicity,
right. and how you came to develop it.
Well, I mean, look, dealing with recognized large call centers in Australia put a lot of pressure on us. So they were feeding us with endless campaigns,
right.
And we had to steer away from the manual, process that we all know.
Which meant that you understood the real pain points.
Well, I mean, we had to work with a CRM and a phone.
Right.
So, I mean, it's typical, right, for startups. But quickly we started looking at sourcing products and new technology and how we're going to, to become a bit more professional.
Right.
So we started looking for technology, and we wanted a technology that would cater for a wide range of campaigns.
Right.
And that's the trick, right? So how do you have how do you find an application that actually caters for inbound, outbound, lead generation, appointment setting, customer follow-ups, campaign direct response, email help desk, emergency response. So conference setting, conference and seminar bookings, for example. So all of these are different campaigns. They are structured differently, and they require different tools to be able to run effectively.
So what are you really looking for in terms of an application with regards to your needs?
There's a few things that the call center needs to be effective, right? So we look for simplicity. so we can train our agents very quickly. We need for reliability. So, this is something I was looking for. Versatility, because
Correct.
we're always
Good
working
point.
with, yeah, we work with a lot of clients with, a great range of campaigns. So we need to be able to be versatile. And also, we wanted a system that would carry an end-to-end process, a seamless process that would enable us to save money and running the call center, because there was a lot of spending going on in terms of
Manual handling, and all of that.
operations team, large operations, large TM teams.
Right. But overall, what was your main concern? Because we're actually quite appreciative of what you mentioned, that you are actually from the other side of the fence, actually, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, call centers know. The call center owners today know very well that if you've got a technology there that's sitting on a rack, it's hardware.
Right.
You know that every time you have a campaign, you need to adjust the application. You've got to develop new functionalities, new forms, new reports, specifically for campaign, and that's quite time-consuming and costly. Considering that you may not even be sure that you're going to keep the campaign.
That's something that most people don't realize, right? They only think about calling and all of that, but the back end, really, it's a lot of
it is quite involved, yeah, quite complicated and costly, right? So the numerous applications we looked at some were good, others were average, but none of them really satisfied what I wanted, right? So so I wanted to address high cost and unreliability. I wanted to make sure that my downtime is minimized.
Right.
And that's very costly for a call center. It could be a tsunami hitting you right there.
That's a good point.
Then we started the development of BlueCloud, IPC voices.
I know it was way back when.
Well, I mean, the development really started about serious development about 5 6 years ago.
Right.
Or a bit more. I mean, but the whole idea was to create this prototype that we can use. It didn't really have this need to commercialize at the time. So it was really done for
serving your purpose at that time. Right?
Yeah. So it had what it needed. So developing, for us, what was important is developing the core application to deliver a customer contact technology, a dialer.
Cloud application.
Well, we started with the dialer, right? With the recordings, the loader. And then we said,
it kind of grew from there.
Well, the whole idea is how do we really address some of the concerns of the owners of call centers, rather than saying this is a developer design product? How do we create something that makes sense to owners, makes sense to project managers and administrators, QA?
Rather than starting it off from a data person, from a programmer, it actually came from an actual person who needed
an operator. Let's call it an operator. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I was running the center.
Right.
So what we needed is a cloud application. First thing. So no service, no hardware, no telephone systems, no service agreements anymore, and no service fees.
No 50-page.
Well, important, right? Very important, because we get caught up into this very easily when you start a business, because infrastructure set up and the cost of all that. Actually,
you don't want to waste your time doing all of this.
I mean, in this industry, you have a pretty interesting, business development sort of type of graph, right? So you've got clients coming in, you can't support them, they go away, or you have exciting clients. Maybe you will probably go from 50 seats to 100 seats. But a week later, you might find yourself with 20 seats. So no servers, no hardware, no telephone system. Gives you that scalability, that flexibility of managing your costs, right? And onboard process we needed, right, to simplify campaign setup.
Right.
And cut the time of launch. So launch time is important. Preparation and the boardroom meetings.
Right.
Taking the time to prepare a campaign and get involved.
And I'm sure our listeners and our viewers out there
own challenges when it comes
have those similar challenges, and we're glad that it actually came about from these actual needs.
Yeah, and it does address this. So if you think of the time involved to set up and launch a campaign, think of it as minimized using BlueCloud. So at the end of the day, that's really the essence of it, right? Then what we wanted also is live remote access to agents, recordings, easy list management, security of data. All these factors were actually also considered during that period of time.
It's a good
And
feature.
also, very good feature. I mean, this is common among a lot of applications, but it's just a way that it's put together, right?
Right.
So marketing tools, for example, sending emails.
Right. What was your mantra against simplicity again? That it's the ultimate sophistication.
Well, it doesn't come from me.
It came from your uncle,
Yes, right.
Mr. Einstein, right? Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, not quite. You're a very funny man.
You are too, because you're like a big brother to me. But going back to the requirements and to the needs, and I think the modes of calling actually is also a significant.
Well, this is one thing, but also, you know, what we actually did is remove the complexity, which is normally on dashboards, and replace those tools with non-techy tools. Well, the whole idea is to say, you know, how can we run a campaign without involving too many people and making things very easy to launch and to run. But what's very important, and what we actually spent a bit of time with, is we created what we call the client portal.
Client portal.
Correct. So we actually created a relationship between the client, the call center, and the agent, and we completed that loop through a very simple process.
Right.
So the client is also involved.
Is it still on prototype, or did it deliver what you expected?
Well, it increased our efficiency, and it's got very smart and intelligent designed backend. The reliability is amazing. The cost savings was great.
Cost savings.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what we wanted to achieve for our call center at the time. So we increased our margin. We had to restructure our team, increase our efficiency, that's for sure. We actually reduced our cost of operations, so quite significantly.
And you got happier clients.
Well, as a result of the client portal, we were paperless at that point in time, and there was no delays between completing a campaign. Releasing an outcome was actually live.
Right. In terms of clients, are we talking about the clients, the call center owners, or the clients of the call center owners, or is it both? Is it the total?
Well, our clients, you know, were call center clients. We were a call center at the time.
Right.
So,
and then in terms,
I found that interesting. You're relying on my memory as your dad.
No, I said big brother.
I'm still relying on my memory. But look, we train our staff a lot better also, Ace. So you know, we spend a lot of time before going around in circles with training. We had to basically coach our staff every time we had an incident, like, you know, of somebody not gathering information properly or not saying the right thing quite. So with our QA portal and the way it's designed and being paperless, is that leads would come back to agents, and agents will be then coached, etc. Through that process. So it made things a lot easy to run and do, you know. So 4 years later, we're now in countries with well-trusted resellers as IPC, such as IPC, and delivering very simple and effective solutions to mainly SMEs, you know, running up to 500 seats.
Interesting point. You mentioned client portal. The client seems to like this feature, and I'm actually interested as well in terms of, you know, IPC Voices is more of a dialer. It's a business solution, right? Can you tell us more about the features and you know, the things that interests me personally?
Okay, well, that's a good question, right? So first of all, business enabler. It's a seamless process, right? With BlueCloud, with IPC Voices. So we create the loop, which takes care of the whole call center process in a very paperless fashion. So let's just look at the process the way it is and the way we know it, right? So clients based locally or overseas, request campaigns to be run by call centers. Right. So administrators, the project managers, and BDMs, or in collaboration with BDMs, they actually define that campaign finalize that campaign with the client, and the client is happy to go ahead, create the campaign based on the client requirements.
Right.
That's one process, right?
Right.
And once prepared, the agents are trained, and the agents are then launched, right? The campaign is actually launched, so
Right.
they go live. So outcomes from that campaign
Right.
are then directly sent to QA, right?
Right. So if
So QA validates those
Mm,
leads and verifies the outcome. And this is a process that's common, right, among every call center around.
validation.
Well, all this is just one process, and we all
Right.
know that, right?
Mhm.
So based on that information provided by the client, and validation is then done,
Mhm.
and then it's about releasing the outcome to the client. And of course, after that, you've got your GIST in place, which is your joint improvement sessions coming every 2 months or 2 weeks with the client to make sure that the adjustments are made at the script level or
Right.
refining the data imports and stuff like that. Right?
And access is available through the portals.
Yeah, well, imagine now with IPC voices, that process just becomes a seamless process. Right? So we've eliminated a lot of time. And this is what you said earlier: is BlueCloud is an enabler. It's a business solution
Right.
rather than just being a dialer that people know every
That's
day.
a simple asset that they can use.
Absolutely. So when you relate to customer contact technology, the first thing that comes to your mind
Yes.
is it's actually a telephony system, right?
Right.
But what if it had all these tools, right, to do that? But let's also look at this one, right? So the second part of it being a business enabler is it's quite interesting. It's actually it relates to business development.
Right.
So the question I would ask to the audience is, does your current technology help you generate new business? And is your technology, is your business development team using or demonstrating your customer contact technology to attract new business? Right? So does the technology itself address some of the concerns that your prospect have? So if you were to call the UK or the US or Australia, how many prospects would be concerned about data security, for example?
Correct.
How many prospects will be concerned about the quality of the agents you provide? Or how many clients or prospects would be interested
Right.
to participate in those trainings? Right?
And I think I have the answers to this because research showed that most potential outsourcers are concerned about two things. Number one, as you mentioned, data security.
Correct.
They might not reveal this, but they could be concerned about the thousands of clients list, for example.
Yeah.
Why release a client list to an unknown call center to trial a campaign, right? It's very, very critical.
It
And
is.
the price as well may be the good risk. And the second point is actually more about transparency. Campaign status, live monitoring, when we mean transparency, it's not just about the availability, but also making sure that all segments that need to know the data have the ease and convenience through the portals that the application provides. And that's actually what they really need, the essence of their need, the essence of their requirements.
Transparency. That's absolutely right, Ace. And for that, IPC Voices View is a free portal delivered by your BDMs to outsourcers.
Their BDMs.
Absolutely. So our listeners, if you own a call center, your BDM can now say, look, we have a tool that you can use to cater for those two major objections,
Right.
major concerns,
Right.
data security, agent visibility.
And they can make adjustments on the fly, right? So, for example,
Absolutely.
midstream on the campaign, they think some of it is ineffective through the application.
Tweak the script or do anything, and they can do this overseas, right? So they could do this from the UK, the US, from anywhere they are.
Burundi, for example, or
There you
Cayman
go.
Islands, or whatever beach have you been to in Manila?
Cebu. There you go.
Have you been to Boracay or
Oh, well, not yet.
something?
But,
Maybe in
I
our
look
next series of webinars, we'll try to be.
We'll be transmitting from a boat. Look, I mean, going back to what we were just talking about, I mean, our business development staff find that this is actually generating more business for call centers. I mean, you can do the same immediately. I mean, this is a free service. You'll be promoting this. Your BDMs will be promoting this,
Right.
and running the agents part of it
Right.
is only between 7 and 15 pesos per hour to
Right.
run. So you just realize at this point in time, what we're doing here in the Philippines, which is absolutely magical, is that we're able to replace these old, weary bits and pieces of technologies all united together and put together.
Right.
We are now able to replace that with state-of-the-art technology, fresh, easy to use, out of the box, plug and play,
That.
at the rate of 7 to 15 pesos an hour.
Good point.
And that totally transforms the way a call center behaves, the way they react towards their clients, and how it works.
Right. And as Antoine, as you promised, to touch on business continuity, disaster recovery today, as you know, the Philippines is very used to and prone to typhoons, heavy rains, floods, earthquakes. Well, I think traffic is a disaster as well.
I ran late today, so I caught the traffic.
No worries.
But then again, it's a good excuse to have a beer after.
Oh, yes.
So
You can have
you can't be walking to the pub and having a beer. You want to be caught in the traffic,
right.
frustrated as I want to be.
But you can have beer if you have a chauffeur. and by the way, if just to inform everyone, our listeners, you guys can actually ask us a question, and please do save them in the chat box, and at the end of the show, we'd be glad to answer all of your questions.
Actually, we are getting the questions coming in as I see here, so
That's correct.
it looks like there's quite a few questions coming up.
But going back to this business continuity, disaster recovery, it's a costly exercise actually. But
well, it's a great topic, right? It's a very important topic,
and complex topic.
It's absolutely critical that call centers here or businesses in general have, a disaster recovery plan.
Right.
That's unquestionable, right? What we call a DRP is there to restore normal business practices. That's the whole idea, as swiftly as possible.
That's correct.
In a call center, this can be of utmost importance, right? So what we do as a business, or what you would do as an organization specializing in cloud services, providing IPC voices as a service.
Right.
I guess what we would do to the industry here is approach them and understand its operation.
Right.
Understand their communication structure, the applications they currently use, understanding also how their business departments communicate.
Right.
Right. Understand how they communicate through technology. And that's very important. So the next thing to do is basically to look at pinpointing the vulnerable areas of this, operating procedures, infrastructure and technology, data integrity. That's also important, and what they already have as a contingency plan to cater for those kinds of events.
Right? Complementing technology.
Well, what they already have, and we don't really know what they have. So it is a quite involved topic, which requires a lot of thinking. So what we also do is we look at the kind of damage this could cause.
Right.
In an event of a flood, what kind of damage? In an event of a fire, what will happen? In an event of a quake, or an earthquake.
Right.
Then design short-term recovery plans or long-term recovery plans, depending and considering the best way to ensure business continuity. So that's the plan. The plan is, it would describe then step by step how the business would return to normal business operations. Right. So once the plan is adopted, it's a matter normally of maintaining, running refresher training courses, doing systems training, and consistently maintaining and updating the plan. Right. Because the business changes, right? So as the business changes, you want to be able to maintain that and make sure. So the first step in a disaster recovery plan is to store all your data in the cloud. Correct. And this is where you come in, right? IPC.
IPC is actually a provider of infrastructure as a service. Products we offer locally hosted enterprise-grade cloud services. And at the end of the show, we'll actually post to you contact numbers and the email that you can actually send your queries, and we'll be glad and more than willing and very quickly answer your requirements and queries.
Yeah. So that's the first step, right?
Right.
And when it comes to having some kind of disaster recovery plan, okay. So you've got to store your data in the cloud, and that doesn't take long to do, right? So and then after that is renewing and reviewing your plans regularly,
Right.
but then again, I mean, you're already safe if you're backing up your data.
Right.
So it's taking care of part of your disaster recovery.
But on the question of my on-premise setup, how
Okay,
do I
now,
make the call then?
yeah, well, with IPC Voices, we've got a program called IPC Voices Ready.
IPC Voices Ready.
You should know that,
Yes.
son.
Yes, Dad.
It's an out-of-the-box
No,
solution.
but really, I see you as my dad, really, in IT
Thank you,
and
guys.
technology.
Appreciate it.
Your insights are very, very useful for all of us here.
Appreciate it. IPC Ready is it's an out-of-the-box solution, right? It's designed to address one part of your disaster recovery, and perhaps very important part of your disaster recovery. So if you're running 200 seats and you're out of business for 2 days, this could have a very nasty effect on your whole operations from a revenue perspective, from a client relationship perspective, and IPCDR specialists would take a deeper look at your business operations,
Right.
and recommend a quick, low-cost implementation to protect your business, instead of spending thousands and even millions of pesos
On
to get
useless redundancies.
Well, I mean, you could prepare an incredible plan, the disaster recovery
But
plan.
at an incredible price.
But to get started, though, having BlueCloud there allows you, and having the data hosting part of the data services that you provide, immediately have a disaster recovery plan, at least underway.
Right.
As something that you can start. So, should you have, in an event of a disaster, your agents can work from home, and your data is all floating in the cloud, so it's all nice and safe. So, these are steps that can be taken immediately to address those concerns. Right.
Very quick, low-cost implementation.
Correct.
Makes sense, Antoine, and I'm sure that everyone understands that this is quite an important topic, and it's very relevant to all of our listeners out there. But that it needs a new approach, you think? Let me give you a scenario so we can better get it. Let's just say I have a existing contact center with about 200 seats, right? I may be a let's just say a grocery store in another country, and I'd like to run a campaign for all of the citizens in those locality, but I have on-premise equipment. But the problem is it's aging already, and I need to expand because I have another campaign for an additional 50 seats. How can a technology like BlueCloud IPC Voices do?
That can be taken care of very easily. It's a cloud-based solution.
Right.
So being cloud-based, in terms of deployment, in terms of getting things moving and start, that's a very easy thing to do. However, and that's what is the actually main challenge, is that we are reliant on the internet. And fluctuations in the internet and an internet service that's not reliable would cause a lot of trouble.
Right.
Because your voice will crack and you have latency issues. The finger will point at BlueCloud, that's for sure. And for that matter, any other cloud service, right? So if there is a problem, that's what people do. However, though, we provide voice and data services into one, hosted in the cloud.
Right.
It's very powerful, and it actually can save you a lot of money.
Right.
However, we are reliant on the internet, right? So therefore, what we would do at the very beginning of the conversation is, should you decide to set up a 200 seats or 50 seats call center, we would send you scoping documents. That would come from our engineers, of course. and and that will be released and will be normally completed by your IT staff.
Correct.
In a few minutes, of course, and be reviewed by the IPC Voices engineers, and who would then give the green light to the provisioning team,
Right.
and then commence setup. Right?
It's that easy.
Simplicity here is the key. So let's talk about the application itself.
Mhm.
Right? If the internet is your internet is set up properly and you've got good connectivity and you have a reliable service, obviously setting up 50 seats will take 2 to 3 hours initially. Initially. So this includes your training of your administrators and agents.
Right.
Initial 50 seats setup is complete. Once this is complete, any additional seats there, whether it's 100 or 200, will take about no more than 15-20 minutes to achieve.
Cool.
So because just that's the way the system is scalable in that way, so it's very easy to do that. And on top of that, the application itself is very intuitive, right? So which allows agents to train themselves. We also have a library of about 20 tutorial videos, online manuals, everything to help this easy process.
Right. You don't have to fly over to a remote location just to train those people.
No, I mean the whole setup can be done online. The training can be done online, and we do this every day.
It's one great appeal, Antoine. Good job, good job. And that CEOs and call centers and business owners now have access to all the aspects of the call center. They're no longer limited to managing and signing documents here and there, and they're no longer alienated and isolated. Information regarding call center is readily available on demand. No matter how complicated, big or small the operation, he or she will have a look at the performance and stay in control. That's the key, staying in control. This surely helps with the client retention, right?
Absolutely, and that's one point that really was worrying me at the time we were running a call center, is that we were alienated sometimes because as owners of a business, not knowing really what's going on in your IT department is quite frustrating. So as a business owner, we all want to stay in control. We don't want to deal with a fait accompli. We don't want to wait for things to happen, lose a client, and we want to take steps before issues happen, before concerns happen, before challenges. And we want to find out what challenges your agents are facing, your admin is facing, and so on. And most of the call center staff is made up of non-salesy people.
Right.
We're not commercially, they're not hired in their work description. You're not hiring them to become salespeople or to retain your clients and so on. So the whole idea of staying in control as a business owner is to make sure that you're able to address certain concerns before it happens.
Right. So through IPC Voices, the involvement of all becomes more active, right?
Well, I mean, since you can actually now have a look and use your mobile devices to access the results of your campaign, to look at your agents online, to be able to keep in touch with all the reports and what is really happening in your with BlueCloud. What's really happening in the call center is very important. So at the end of the day, it is very important for a business owner to stay in control, know exactly at any time and also how their clients feel. That's where the client portal comes in, right? So the client portal is able to give you some data, intelligence about how they feel about the results of that campaign.
Data availability.
Well, through monitoring really the results and the dispositions at the client end. You're able to know the client, measure the client satisfaction.
At this point, let me go to the questions of our listeners and viewers. By the way, you can still go ahead and ask your questions, and we challenge you to, if you could place them in Filipino, so we could try and see if we can answer them. And
Salamat.
do you know other words?
Well, I can say magandang umaga. So is that good enough? I'm not
Okay.
sure.
We have
And I can say directional, kanan, and kaliwa.
Oh,
So is
okay.
that, do I pass the test?
Somehow, yes, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, let's see a question here from one of the question here is how do we assess if our company is fit with IPC voices technology?
How do we assess the company of fit with?
Mhm.
I don't quite understand the question.
Well, perhaps they're saying if their contact center is ready for such an implementation, and if they're not, then what they have to try to do to.
Well, it's a very good question. If that's what the question is, it's a very good question because we can service from one agent to 500, 600, 1,000 agents.
Right.
So if you have an internet connection, you can be working from home. So getting started with BlueCloud does not require that you have 50 seats or 20 seats.
Right.
You could be a team of 2 seats. You could be 100. You could be 200.
Right.
We treat you the same way. So.
How about another question? What do you mean by IPC voices has a full mobility?
Well, you can access anything anywhere. So
Right.
it's cloud service. It's a typical attribute of cloud services. So
Right.
you've got your laptop, your iPad,
As long as you've got connectivity.
you're remotely, sitting at Gloria James having a coffee. You want to see how your call center is running.
Right.
And you can listen to the audio recordings. You can barge into calls. You can listen to your agent.
Right.
You can look at your reports.
And if something happens to another location, you just have to transfer all of the people and then just connect.
Well,
back
that's
to
in
the
a disaster recovery situation.
Good point.
If anything happens, your agent can work from home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fully scalable and it's got all these attributes. And the whole idea is to present all this to our clients, but also offer them these possibilities at a very low rate. And that's I think with the magic of BlueCloud is that people will be investing something like 7 pesos per hour, to tap into technology like this.
Another question which is very interesting.
The tweets
also.
are coming, right?
Yes. In fact, this came from a tweet and it asked, can you give us cost comparison between a traditional setup versus IPC voices or with others, something like that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you call our office on, you've got your number, right?
Yes, we'll flash our contact details on the screen later, and we'll send you an email recapping all of the topics and the things that we discussed, so you can have reference of this webinar even beyond this live session.
Absolutely. And we have a lot more information as well. If you are interested, please contact IPC, IP Converge. We have some really good analytics regarding comparison with other systems, dollars and traditional dollars that are running here in terms of efficiency, in terms of productivity, and increase in percentage. So you will get to appreciate all this. Just give us a call.
Right. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, IPC actually is also in the business of internet and connectivity. So if you subscribe with an IPC Voices subscription, you can likewise take advantage of lowest pricing when it comes to your connectivity. We will bundle the service, so you'll have no headaches whatsoever when it comes with your internet and connectivity requirements. Let's answer this one also from the chat. It's great. This is great in showing small call centers and startup call centers. How does this solution help them? I think this is a question on.
It's a bit similar to the first question,
right?
So, well,
I think it has something to do with the cost and.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's just look at this, right? Setting up a call center is quite a costly game, right? So you've got to get your telephony right, the servers right, the IT staff ready, your cabling ready, PCs, and all the other things. And on top of that, you need to actually get clients lined up so you can actually start launching campaigns because you need to have the revenue to pay off for those investments you made. Now, there are some key things to remember. Is that there is this unknown area of, am I going to keep 50 seats active?
Right.
Am I going to lose 20 seats, or am I going to grow to 80 seats? Will that infrastructure or the service that I have cater for an additional 100 seats?
Right.
Should I need it tomorrow?
Correct.
Or am I paying for servers that won't be needed in a month or two? So those are questions that we all ask ourselves. So these questions are if we can guarantee that we will have 100 seats to cater for the 100 seats capacity that we have in terms of server, then we'll be very happy, right? So we invested 100,000 pesos. We're getting enough campaigns to support this continuously. It's okay.
Right.
But if we need to grow this business overnight, if we have a campaign that just suddenly lands on our lap, and we need to provide 100 additional seats to take inbound calls or anything like that, then how quickly and how swiftly can we get this up and running?
Right.
And the problem is that we will most of the time be dealing with non-commercial people who would be taking a bit of time to get things done right, because that's what they do. They do things right. But for us as business owners, we want a deployment that's fast, swift. So we want to get 100 seats active in a week's time, in 5 days, no questions asked. And that's where BlueCloud IPC can be of great benefit.
Those are actually very good perspectives that you cannot just easily search online. And Antoine, unfortunately, it's the only time we have for now, but we thank you for gracing us here in our first webinar series.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Great, right. But the good news is this is not the end of it. Please stay tuned for email notifications and messages from the IPC team for the next installment of this webinar series. And I think on the next episode, what are we going to talk about?
My business partner, Morten Blomfeld, who is based in Norway, he's our acting COO. He's
what is he going to be focusing on?
I think he agreed to join in and have a conversation about trends, etc. in the Philippines, and also probably touch a little bit more on the development part of it in terms of an operational part of our business. It was a pleasure having
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dad. And then on behalf of the IPC product management and marketing teams, we thank you guys for tuning in for this webinar series. Before we forget, please see the messages below this webinar for the contact details. If you want to talk to us, reach out to us, and so we can help you with your contact center solution requirements.
Right.
Again, this is Ace, and with my partner and my dad in business, Antoine, thanking you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Salamat.
Salamat.
Thank you.
Thanks.